oh, they're not together, to, oh my God, they got together or they broke up. Like, what happened in between? I don't care what happened in between. They're two average people who broke up. Alrighty. So we always know that people love to make lists of books that they'll always love, books that they'll always read, their favorite authors. Trust me, I have my own list of favorite authors, and I'll always read a book by them. Can I catch up with how many books they already have published versus the ones that they are publishing right now? No, I'll never catch up. Let's just be honest. But I do have a list. But what about the authors that you would never read? So I'm gonna dive deeper into that in this video of authors I will never read and why. So to first off, this is no shame, no no shame, no hate to anyone who reads books by these authors. These are your books. You love these books. I'm not gonna knock you for that. These are just these are just authors I will never read from, or I have read from before, and I will never read a book by them ever again. Okay? It's just my opinion. Just my opinion. Don't come for me. Everyone has their own opinion. But I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my list because, oh God. There are some that I'm just like, that's a huge no. And there's some that I forget because I'm not focusing on their books. Like, why would I keep focusing on an author of books that I will not read? It's a waste of time. So I'm going to start off with, I wouldn't say everyone's favorite, but there's definitely a 50-50 if you either like her books / love her books, or if you would rather set them on fire. And that is Colleen Hoover. I will never read a Colleen Hoover book. Don't ask me to. Don't ask me to review it. Don't even ask me to look at one in the library or the bookstore. I don't want any part of it. I don't want any part of it. And my take is from the fact that from social media, from what I've gathered, her books are filled with toxic relationships. And that's not something I want to read. Trust me, as someone who likes to read romance and a little bit of smut, my books that I do enjoy aren't toxic relationships. Can they be like, oh my God, I really love this person and I want to move in with her and we've only known each other for 6 months? Is it a little bit fast paced? Yes. Is it toxic? Not necessarily. From the authors that write those books, the characters are mature, they're older, they've been through a lot of stuff, so they understand their triggers, they understand how to communicate, and they understand of just how not to look like an ass, you know? I feel like with Colleen Hoover's books, everyone's an ass. And I do not want to be part of that world where I feel like I want to slap a character. I just don't. I mean, from one of the books that I've heard, a character goes from loving somebody and then the next chapter or whatever, the character wants that person to be hit by a car. I'm sorry. They're supposed to be romantic? No, I don't want that. I don't need that. So, no Colleen Hoover for me. No, thank you. That's just enough for me. Next up, Sally Rooney. Oh God, oh God, oh God. So now I did start a Sally Rooney book. I did DNF it, and that was, I swear, everyone seems to love this book. Normal People. I hated it. I hated it. I truly did. It was the fact that oh my God, the storyline was all over the place. The characters, they didn't seem, I didn't like the characters, okay? There was nothing about the characters that made me root for them. There's nothing about the characters that made me love them or want them to be together at any point. It was very much like average people in an average relationship doing dumb stuff from what I've read so far. I don't even know how far I got, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. To go from God, like January in one chapter, I'm like, okay, so next month is probably gonna be February, right? No, it jumps all the way to fucking October. And then the third chapter fills in the gaps in between. I don't like that. I didn't like it at all. I don't like jumping around. Like, can we just have a concise, straightforward timeline? I'm just saying. Is it that hard? Especially for two people who are very average. Either they together or they're not. We don't need to go from, oh, they're not together, to, oh my God, they got together or they broke up. Like, what happened in between? I don't care what happened in between. They're two average people who broke up. Like, what could have happened in between them? What? There was a love triangle, some to misunderstanding, something as simple as that. Okay, we don't need to build it up like this is some big stuff that happened in the middle if it really isn't. That's just my opinion. The storyline, characters, nothing. But what gets me the most is there were no quotation marks. None. No quotation marks. So the entire time I was reading, I don't know. I think maybe I was up to like page like 75. I don't know. Maybe I got to 100. I have no idea. But the entire time, there were no quotation marks around when the characters were speaking. So I kept rereading the same page like 3 times because I had no idea who was talking. Like, I didn't know. I had no idea. It was very frustrating for me as a reader to not know what was happening. Felt like I kept having to go back and try to fill in the gaps of what happened when nothing really happened. Like, she could have just went to the fridge, and then I'm like, wait, where did that come from? It was just, it threw me off. It's a writing style I know I don't like. So, Sally Rooney, sorry, girl, but I'm not your target audience. I don't. Your books are not for me. But for those who love Sally Rooney, go right ahead. I just won't read any Sally Rooney books. Don't recommend any Sally Rooney books to me. We're just gonna leave it at that. And the fact that it became a TV show too, I digress. It's not for me. But hey, if y'all like it, I love it. Next up is, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Alex M. I'm not even going to try to say the last name because I am going to completely mess it up. So, Alex M., the author of The Maidens. If you know, you know. Someone else, please pronounce his name. Or, I know how to spell it, I just don't know how to pronounce it, and I don't want to butcher it. So, Alex M., The Maidens author. I read The Maidens, but this one's going to be a little bit difficult because I read The Maidens. The ending made me pissed. I finished the book, but the ending pissed me off because it was out of nowhere. If you know, you know. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who is currently reading it, but it was out of nowhere. It was out of pocket. There was no lead up to it. There wasn't any, like, Easter eggs along the way to lead up to this big conclusion. So I thought to myself, I'm not reading his books anymore. That's it. That's done. I'm not going to do it anymore. But then along came The Silent Patient. So I didn't know it was a book first. I just saw it was it was not Netflix, Hulu show. I was like, okay, a new Hulu show called The Silent Patient. I'm like, okay, I'll add it to my list, of several things I need to watch. And then I don't know how I got to it. Somehow it popped up on my For You page or something and saw there was actually a book by him. And that's when I thought to myself, oh boy. Oh boy. I don't know about this one now. Because the whole premise of it sounds really good. Sounds really fucking good. Especially as a psych major. Ooh, it just sounds so good. but it's written by Alex, so I don't know what to expect. I think I have a copy of it. I think so. I'm not really sure. I'll check my bookshelves. But I might read it. I might not. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. If anyone who has read The Silent Patient, drop it in the comments. If you liked it, you loved it. Is it anything? I can't say because it's not going to be the same as The Maidens, but does it have a very like outrageous ending like The Maidens? Because if so, please let me know. I don't want to waste my time if it is. I just don't want to get my hopes up. I just really don't want to get my hopes up. That's just one thing. Oh my god. Next on the list, I only have two more. Almost done. Is Lauren Asher. Now, I've read Lauren Asher. I've read two of her books. I read The Fine Print and Terms and Conditions. Because, I saw the fine print. I was like, okay. I've seen it all over Instagram. I don't do TikTok, so anything that was on TikTok, I just see it on Instagram. That's just how it is for me. And I was like, okay, this book looks kind of cute. They were giving all of like the tropes, all of the arrows, usually how on posts are about what to expect in the book, what it covers. And it sounded cute. I was like, okay, all right. Same thing with terms and conditions, same thing. And also the main character is black. So I was like, yes, that's what I'm here for. I'm trying to find more books with the black main character, especially books written by black authors, especially romance. I don't know about urban romance. I don't know if I want to go there. But just, black main characters, yes, getting a lot of love. That's what I'm here for. And so reading the fine print. Let's start with the fine print though. God. Just from her books alone, I'm not a slow burn kind of girl. If you know J.L. Seeger, if you know Alexandria House, they are definitely not slow burners when it comes to their books. And I love their books. But with Lauren Asher, oh my gosh, she's a slow burn author. That's what it feels like to me. I don't know if any of her other books, besides The Fine Print and Terms and Conditions, are a little bit more fast paced in the terms of romance. But from those two books, I did not get the energy that there's anything else than a slow burn. And oh god, I do not like a slow burn. It took way too long to get to, that scene. Like for me, I need my characters to be having something within like the first chapter or two. That's just me. I realize that's just me. And it's not the fact that her characters, couldn't have done it at the beginning, or just I don't know. It's slower for me. So there's a lot of build up, but the build up didn't equal to my expectations. I think that's how I phrase it. It didn't meet my expectations with the lead up and the actual scene. It didn't line up. It was very mundane. Also, with the fine print, I didn't care for the characters really. Like I was reading it, like I physically read the book. I was reading it and I was just reading it. Like how you put on a movie just for background noise, I was kind of reading it like that. Where it's just like, oh, okay, these are the characters. They're doing their thing. I didn't feel any connection to them. I didn't feel any emotion to them at all. Like I'm just like, oh, these are just some characters in a book. Whatever. I did like the representation of the main character's sister having a disability. I was like, okay, that's cool. I've never read a book with a character with a disability before. No, I have. That's a lie. Okay, well, in the sense that it's not the main character. But still, I was like, okay, that's interesting. Okay, I was like, I'll read on. I read on. I still just didn't. I didn't root for anybody, but I also didn't hate the characters either. They just weren't convincing to me to care for, which meant the story wasn't much. I didn't care for much for the story either. I didn't care for their romance. To me, their romance seemed very fake and very just like it didn't. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy their romance. Nothing nothing about their romance was believable to me. Kind of like the love hypothesis. It just didn't do anything for me. So that was my take for the fine print. But I was like, okay, maybe it was just, first book, something I didn't connect with. So I thought, let me go ahead and try another one. I kept seeing terms and conditions pop up everywhere with like those collage photos and quotes from the book. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, this might be a little different. Let me try it out. Same thing. Same thing. I didn't care for the characters. The plot was I mean, I've read the plot before in other stories. A lot of stories have like roughly the same, like generic plot, like fake marriage, fake dating, that type of thing. But there just wasn't any spark to it for me. Like there wasn't something that made me be like, "Ooh, yes, they're getting married. They got to go through with it. Ooh, yes, this is gonna be wild. It's gonna be a wild and crazy ride." I didn't get that with terms and conditions. Maybe it's just me. Maybe because I'm not a now I know that I'm not a slow burn kind of girl. It just takes more. It takes more for me to be um connected to the characters, connected to the story. So I think that's just really what it is. If you love Lauren Asher, go ahead, read all of her books. It's just not for me. It's what I know now. And I'll go into the last one. This is the last one. Kind of going off of the slow burn. I do not like A Fade to Black or Closed Door, which leads into my last author, Jasmine Guillory. Yes, a black author. I will not be reading Jasmine Guillory's books strictly because of the fact that her books, well, at least one of her books that I have read, I DNF'd it. Let's just be honest. I DNF'd it. Drunk on Love. Drunk Love, Drunk on Love, Drunk. You know the book. You know the book. I DNF'd it purely because of that. Because as soon as it got to this end, I'm like, ooh, yes, this is going to be good. It's going to be juicy. It's going to be spicy. Closed door. You mean I can't see nothing? I can't experience what's going on in there? That's what made that turned me off. That turned me off. I think it's because I've been spoiled by my other authors. But hey, like give me something. Maybe it could have been, maybe I could have gotten a little bit more like later on. Maybe not extremely like, graphic scenes, but like a little bit of something. But I couldn't wait, okay? I couldn't wait. Like the tension was there. Like I felt that tension. I was like, okay, all right. He was checking her out and everything. And I just it failed me. As soon as it was like, and we closed the door, it was like a faded black. I forgot which one it was. I was just like, really? That's what we're gonna do here? I can't. I can't get anything. Not at all. Not a word. Not just the word. Not anything. Okay. But hey, if you love Jasmine Guillory, read her books. Those are for you. Fantastic. You like it? I love it. It's just not for me. These are the authors that just they're not for me. And there are a lot of books or a lot of authors that aren't for you. Everyone has different taste in genre, in writing styles. They like different authors. Maybe they have two authors, well, maybe one author and another author virtually have like the same like writing style, but they have different elements that they don't like in one, so they don't really read that author's books. Completely valid. That's just how it is. There's a book for everybody, there's an author for everybody. These are just the ones that are not for me. Hate to say it, but that's what it is. All right. But if you have reached the end of this video, thank you so much for watching the entire video. It was a little bit of a ranting video, but hey, I mean, we're talking about authors that I will never read. Of course, it's going to be a little bit of a rant video. But if you like this video, be sure to like this video, like, comment, subscribe, share, do all those things. I will be linking my social media accounts in the description box and pinging them in the comments below too as well. If any of these authors are on your list to read, if you were curious about them, go ahead and try them out. I'm not a final say in anything. This is just my opinion. If you know certain aspects of books that you do not like, if it's like you're like, oh, I haven't really read Slow Burn, or it's something that's not for me, then you're probably not going to read certain authors. You're not going to read Lauren Asher. That's just what it is. But yeah, we can, share comments, any authors that you don't want to read, authors that you don't like. It can even just be like problematic authors that you're like, no, I'm not reading their books because of X, Y, and Z of what they did, social media posts, anything like that, maybe who they support. We can share that in the comments below of authors that you just, you don't want to support or that aren't for you. You can even add in authors that you do support, authors that you do love. I can make a whole separate video on that. It'll probably be long as hell, but it will be a video. So yeah, if you want to do that, we can make a whole video on that. Do all the things that I just said before. I'm kind of a little woozy. It's like 10 o'clock at night where I'm at. So I just wanted to get this out there for you guys and put this up for this week. So hopefully sometime this week, this video will be up. But yeah, I mean, I will see you all later in another video. So yeah, bye.